Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be going over how to create subcontract purchase orders, more commonly referred to as a subcontract PO or simply subcontract. Before we can start, as always, we have to answer a couple of questions first. What is a subcontract purchase order, and when do we use a subcontract purchase order? A subcontract purchase order is a contractual agreement between a contractor, in this case us, and a specialist hired by us to work on a specific part of a project, ensuring better skill utilization and efficiency. A perfect example would be the Bank of Emmons County project. The electrical portion of the project falls under our scope of work or our scope of responsibility, meaning it's our responsibility to ensure it's done per the construction drawings and specs and adheres to all electrical codes. Instead of doing the work ourselves, which would drastically stretch out our manpower, we subcontracted Carroll Electric to perform the electrical portion of our scope. Matt gave us a price to complete the electrical scope. We issued him a subcontract. When do we use subcontracts? Anytime we're hiring another contractor to perform work that falls under our scope of work or our scope of responsibility. Now that that's all out of the way, let's get into it. As you see before you, this is the subcontract purchase orders dashboard. Just like all the other dashboards, there is widgets above your list of current active, well in this case subcontracts. Top left, you have your most recent subcontract purchase orders issued. This just keeps a running tally, just shows you, as things are going, just shows you, looks like the top 5. Here's your contract stats. This shows you this last week versus this week, last month versus this month, the contracts that you've submitted, that have been approved, or that you have closed. Moving to the right, this is your contracts by project. This right here will give you a total tally of your subcontract value per your active project. You can look at it here on this nice little picture graph here. It's nice and pretty. I prefer the table because it gives you numbers and it's easier to read. I don't like graphics. Right here is your unpaid contracts. As a project goes to close, if you have any unpaid subcontracts out there lingering, this right here will show you. Luckily, we have 0, and it would be great to keep it that way. With that all said, we're going to go ahead and create our first subcontract. We're going to go to our little test project here. Back to the financial tab. This is where most of the work is going to be performed as far as the project goes, especially from the office standpoint, because mainly the office is going to be doing financial stuff. Click subcontract purchase orders, which will slide you all the way down to here, and hit the plus. Okay, we're going to do subcontract for electrical work. Here we have our list of contractors. I'm going to take Carroll Electric. As you see here, it says agreement number, save to view, which means just like in vendor purchase orders, it is an automatic process. You add this information, it tells you the number, that way it can be kept track of. Now I'm just going to create subcontract purchase order. And there you go. That has created the placeholder for the agreement. As you can see, just like before with our, I'll go ahead and grab that and slide it over. Our project number is CT-OVR. Our agreement number for this subcontract is agreement number CT-OVR-1. That is a specific number that will be referenced anytime we are talking about this subcontract. As far as the issued by, It's typically going to be the project manager who's doing the issuing. So we're just going to say that in this instance, Barry is the project manager. And what date? What date did we issue it? That means what date were they given the notice to proceed? And we're going to say, we'll just leave it today. Now we're going to add items to the subcontract. You can add it from your cost items database. You can import from a change order. That will come in handy later. You can import from estimate. Sometimes that will happen, and that will happen a lot more within a subcontract purchase order than it will a standard vendor purchase order, because a lot of times when we're doing an estimate, we go into it knowing we're going to subcontract this particular workout. So we will already have a quote or a price from that contractor to do the work. So a lot of times you're going to do import from estimate. So just keep that in mind. You can do an import from schedule of values, just like before. Sometimes it can happen. A lot of times it won't. Or you can do a manual subcontract purchase order item. That's what we're going to do today because I have not created an estimate for my test project. So I'm going to call this just electrical work. And in the item type, this time, is going to be subcontractor. Typically what you do with a subcontract, because they do not break it out, they don't let you see their pricing, they give you a lump, just a lump sum. So your quantity will be 1, and then you'll put their total. So his total is going to be $216,217.53, and LS for lump sum. Now, that's not always true. Sometimes they will break out their stuff. Like, we're going to issue a subcontract, and we're going to say, we will do this work, or we want you to perform this work. At this time, it's only going to be for 1 unit, but we need to be able to say how much per unit. We don't want to know your labor, your material cost, just how much for you to do the work per unit. That way, if our customer decides to add more, we can just multiply it. So keep that in mind. It's all case by case, but typically they're just going to give you a lump sum, and you will put it in just like this. Save and close. Now we do have the pricing option where we could just, move it to pricing, and we could change the vendor to nobody, and we could email this PDF out, take the unit cost out, and send it out for pricing from other subcontractors. But like I said, typically we know in advance if we're going to subcontract something out. This step here is more for going into it. If we decide halfway through we just do not have the manpower, we're going to have to subcontract somebody to do something. Then you'll do that. Or let's say we do a project and anticipate self-performing, but then when we get to it, we're like, this contractor here, we're going to see if they can give us a price. Maybe their price will be cheaper than us self-performing. We've done that sometimes on controls projects with thermostat stub-ups. Subcontract the electrical. Since they're already running all this conduit, just throw us some thermostat stub-ups, and it ends up costing less money. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to say all this has been taken care of. This has already been negotiated. We've won the project, and we know that Carroll Electric is going to get the subcontract if we win. We just got notification that we won. You can skip approved and go straight to committed. Now, as soon as you click committed, committed means that the contract is signed. So don't click committed until the contract has been signed. But as soon as you click committed, something happens to our project. As you can see right here, right now, we have committed $0 for our subcontracts. Hit that refresh, and now we have committed $216,000, $216,217.53 to be precise, to our contract. As soon as you commit to a subcontract, that is a legally binding agreement saying we will pay you this much. So, as soon as it becomes committed, it goes ahead and counts against our project contract amount. But yeah, that's how you go through and create a subcontract purchase order. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Until next time.